Hi and welcome to another video. This one's called Bertha. It's in tribute to my father's Morris Oxford he had way back in the 60s. Only car he ever had really. Him and my brother bought it from somewhere as a kind of joint purchase. I don't think it was up to much in them days. I seem to remember them pushing it more than I drove it anywhere. The model itself isn't in bad condition. No tyres. Pretty much got play wear on it, you can imagine. This one's coloured green, but eventually it will be painted black in tribute to the original Bertha. First job into the caustic soda to get the paint off. So blink, 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 in with the boiling water. Now the next bit should be me tipping the caustic soda in, but I over-egged the pudding and it erupted all over the top of the table. So I've saved myself the embarrassment of you witnessing that. We just moved to the stage where 10 minutes later the paint stripped off. Let's get it out of the pot. You've got to be careful with the caustic soda. It will strip the fat out of your skin because it's really nasty stuff. I've got it on the wire wheel on the battery drill this time rather than the Dremel. It means I can stand to one side of the wire wheel, but wheel wise, just brushing. I've had a couple of bits fly off these in the past. At one point I managed to get one stuck in the eyeball. It was a miserable experience. I wouldn't particularly want to repeat it. With the electric drill or the battery drill spinning just a little bit slower than the Dremel does. Slightly less likely to get an injury. Polishing them quite nice, the body's in reasonable condition. Not too much pity, there's a tiny bit of damage in one corner of the grill, which is dressed a little bit with a needle file, but I think overall, considering the age of the toy, I'll leave it at that. Next move is to drill the rivets. I'm going to be using some of these fake rivets that you can glue into position on the restored cars through the base plate. First time I've used them, so I'm kind of anxious to get the depth of the drilling right, not go too far, and poke the drill right through the toy. A little bit ginger. I've got a bit of soft jaw vice here. I'm pinching it up a little bit at a time. Don't want to go too tight in case I deform the body on the toy. 3 holes to drill together. Just going to test fit the pin in to see whether I've done the drill the right depth now. And there we go. Pinched it in. Oh yeah, that'll be fine. The job's a good one. So next up, primer. It's Style and Res. I use it quite a bit. It's a water-based primer. I quite rate it. It's from Badger, the airbrush people. Bit cack-handed here, holding the toy with the forceps, but I'm managing to get a little bit on the inside, which is satisfactory. And then I'll probably swap over to a rotary stand just to make my life a bit easier. There we go. One of these Tamiya rotary stands for car and model bodies. Just finishing the primer off there now. Put about 3 coats on. I do flash the coats off with hot air gun or a hairdryer just to speed up the process. I know a lot of people use the aerosol flick cans, but I do like the water-based primers and I've had some good results with them, so I'm sticking for this for the time being. There we go. Next up is the base. The front wheels stay in the body of the car when you take the base plate off. The back ones are still attached. I've got them masked off with a bit of PVA tape, and that's what I'm holding the base up with in the forceps. quite satisfied with this as a technique. It saves having to scrape paint off the axles and remove the axles for no good reason. It's running perfectly fine, so there's no need to cut it out and replace it. This is going to be my top coat, although it's a base coat, auto wear base coat, Sealer Dark. It's a pretty effective black paint. It's really meant as an undercoat, but once you put a top coat on it, it looks pretty good on these toys. It's quite glossy. Through like coats, and again probably flashing off in between coats with the hot air dryer. You don't really need to see that. It's pretty self-evident what to do. And if anybody is listening who knows me knows that I've got no other use for a hairdryer in my life, so I might as well use it on the toys. Putting the black on the base now. You can see in this shot how glossy it's going to look when it's lacquered while I'm putting these wet coats on. Two or three light coats and you're in business. Dries really quick, water based, so no smells, no fumes, no anything. Quick blast with a aerosol lacquer just to seal the paint in before I start picking it up and trying to put the detailing in and the decal number plate on the back. Yes, and if you're watching for the first time and enjoy what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. You've got to get the advert in, haven't you? Well, she is now that it's the day after. It's plenty dry enough to pick up, and I'm just pushing the details in with a fine liner gel pen. First time I've tried using this kind of thing. I normally persevere with a brush, but I've seen quite a few people using the gel pens and the paint pens, and it does seem to be pretty good. So I thought I'd test run it on Bertha. The details on these things are quite small, and the pen nib does lend itself quite well to getting in all the little nooks and crannies. I've been reasonably satisfied with the results, although to be fair, I did use the paintbrush for the bumpers just because it was a broader piece that I could attack with the brush more easily. Difficult time, this, a bit of a faff, always difficult to try and get the job in the middle of the camera and make sure you're not blocking the video with your hand like I'm doing now. And I'd like you to be able to see what I'm doing as much as possible, although it's fairly kind of new business to me. But I'm enjoying the learning curve, and I kind of hope that since you've got this far, you must be presumably enjoying it too. Just doing the bonnet mascot now, and a little crest underneath. But as far as I remember, has a blue, it's a red bull going over some wavy lines, which I presume is meant to be the Ford, Morris Oxford. Well thought out. It's just time consuming a bit, but I think it's kind of worth it in the end. As I say, for me first experimenting using a pen, quite happy. On with the decals now. I printed these out myself, and as you can see, I'm expecting trouble because I only need one number plate decal, and I've actually printed 4. So clearly taking no chances. Just cutting it out with a 10A scalpel and a steel rule. I don't tend to use scissors. I'm pretty hopeless with them. There we go. Just break it off. Dip it into the water, and I'm just applying some Humbrol decal or transfer fix on the back of the car here with the fine brush, whilst the decal's in a little place of water having a bath. Very difficult to try to apply the decals and have your fingers crossed at the same time. We're having a bit of try. Here we go. Just going to put it into place now. Slide it off a little way. Grip the tab end with your finger, because you can't afford forceps yet. I've got that in a reasonable spot, but you watch, I'll not be satisfied. I'll have to prod and poke at it with the brush, and eventually I'm going to knock it out of place, because that's what I do every time. Never quite satisfied. Always got to do that last little bit of tinkering, and what do you know? Boink, it's up in the air. Right, so just push it back down into place again, and then with a bigger brush, dry off the excess decal fix. Just soaks it all up, because that brush is bone dry, and then I'll wipe it across and kind of flatten it out, make it even again, and just pick up the last of the excess decal fix. And that's it. Pretty happy with that. Fairly straight, nice and readable. Pop it down, and for my next trick, new tyres. I chose to put truck tyres on the back, the ribbed ones, because I had a recollection of the original Bertha having town and country tyres on. The old man would never have been able to afford to change them. You got town and country tyres on. I feel they had little steel, I don't exactly know what they would have been, but they were meant to grip in the snow, and as they went along it was tick 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 all the while. But so I thought, well, I'll put the ribbed ones on. It'll be a bit of a tribute to the way that it was. Rivet time now. I've got 1, 2, need another one, 3 on the plate holding this in, obviously. Put it down on a bit of velvet, so scratching me nearly minted paint, and in with the super glue. It's that kind of fairly thick consistency, the kind of gel type. Every time I ever use the very thin runny stuff, I get it everywhere. I usually end up stuck to whatever it is I'm doing. So I'm inclined to go a little bit more patiently and pop it in with, I actually think this might be a barbecue skewer I'm using here. A little bit got on the velvet, but that'll be all right. And now it's time to fix the base. Front wheels in first. Along comes the base. Just drop it into place. And get hold of me forceps and try and push the rivets in. I think I struggle with the rivet on this one for the first kind of attempt. I don't know I didn't quite know what the problem was at the time. Turned out I hadn't quite lined it up. I'm faffing about and I'm like cursing because I'm thinking about the glue going off and the fact that I'm videoing it, and it always goes wrong when the pressure's on. And in a second I'm going to give that neck, as we call it in the Black Country, and lift it up and try and fit it in the back, so it just doesn't want to cooperate. So up with the forceps so that I don't super glue myself to the job. Drop it in the back corner. Push it down with the thumb bump, done, and it's in. And we'll say the second one there. No, carry on and do the back. That's it. Keep going with the winning formula. I think it was around about that point that I realised that the plate had just clicked into place and that the front one was going to go in for me. I think these things are pretty effective. Some people are not keen on them, but I quite like the look of them. All fixed. Glue's gone off. And now it's time for the big reveal. And there she is, on the Wheel of Fortune, Bertha. Pretty pleased with her. She does kind of pretty much resemble the Morris Oxford the old man had, as I remember. Except I think he did at least have windows and seats in it. Other than that, the motive power's still the same. I'll be pushing this one along just like he used to. Okay, once again, if you enjoyed this video, do click a like and subscribe. Kind of keen to do some more, and obviously some sort of feedback is always encouraging. Once again, thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.